Welcome to our podcast show, the one that has no name at this moment, but we're going to be working on that. My name is Tyler Downey, and I'm the Secretary-Treasurer for SEIU Healthcare Canada. Today, we've got a great show for you. Great conversation. My co-host, Jackie Walker. Why don't you introduce yourself, Jackie?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in again. My name is Jackie Walker, proud RPN, and excited to be the co-host of our podcast. So what are we talking about today, Tyler?
Well, we're talking about women in finance. I mean, it's a great conversation. I think it's very timely. I think, we're at the RSP tax season deadline thing that's in the air. So I think it's very timely. We got a special guest, one of our amazing members who's going to share, some of her personal experiences, but also some tips and things for our members to digest as it relates to finance. So why don't we just...
So I was really excited when you told me what we're going to be doing today, because as an RPN, as a single woman, finance is something that I often have a lot of questions about too. So I think what we're going to be talking about today is going to help a lot of people. So without further ado, let's welcome our guest, George. And George goes by the name, the Prosperous PSW. Welcome to our podcast, George.
Tell us a little bit about who you are. Gina is the other name, right?
Yeah, yes. Georgina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about who you are.
I've been working as a PSW, healthcare aide, HSW, for about 30 years, since 1991.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Currently, I'm enrolled in upgrading at high school to go back and take my RPN.
Okay.
I'm doing
Good for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm doing that at night on a regular basis for the last year.
Work during the day, school at night.
Yep. Yeah, I tell everybody, just get in there and do it. Whether you get to the final product or not, just do something, even if it just keeps the brain cells going. Yeah, because it's a lot of that.
What do you love about the work that you do?
The people I meet. Yeah, and I work by myself. Yeah.
But I feel you. There's an independence to working in home care and, kind of doing your thing with your people.
That female English independence, sadly. Yeah, we like to be by ourselves.
Oh, that's what it is.
The independence part, yeah. Yeah, one of my clients had told me that. And I was like, oh, okay, I get that. The English independence with the females, yeah. Not that it's a good thing, not as a bad thing, but yeah. I could do the walk into a room and, okay, come on, let's go. Let's do this. Yeah.
But I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
Why do you care about people's finances? Why is this something that you spend time working on and supporting people in?
Well, I did the union steward for a while, and that was to be able to get more money, because at the time our wages was a new field, and we figured it was just going to go up from there, and it wasn't. So I got involved in the union to see if I could get some more money for the girls that I was working with.
So you did negotiations?
Oh yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it because it was stimulating intellectually, and I was not bad at it. I'm the person who could figure out that one little word could change the whole contract, and it was like the other girls didn't understand that, and they're they were asking me for stuff, and it's like one little word changed it, and rather than having 3 days scheduled or 3 days consecutively for their this is one example. For the bereavement, they had it got down to scheduled days.
Okay.
So instead of getting the 3 days in a row, they got it the scheduled days. And it was like one little word did that. And I understood that level of it, and it meant money in their pocket. Because the two girls who came to me and told me what happened with one of their fathers had passed and one of their husbands had passed. And I says, okay, I'll see what we can do. And we did it. And, I realized that written word, and it wasn't the big, exclusive and scheduled. It was the ands, ors, and whats, and its that made that possible. So I love that. I love that part. But it was also, I was talking to these girls, and they didn't know anything about finances. They didn't know where to go get an RSP. Or I would say, oh, yeah, I've heard about that. Where do you go to get that? And I was like, what? I'm talking to a woman in her 50s. This is about 10 years ago. And you're like, kind of like, what? You don't have anything saved? A lot of them rely on their CPP, their old age security. Well, that's only 25. That only covers 25% of your retirement. That's it. You got to come up with the rest. That's 75% you got to come up with. And like, where are you going to get that?
I remember when I started at my first retirement home and they're like, check this box if you want to do the private pension. And I was like, no, I need my $18 an hour to go to my bills. And it took me a while to figure out that was a big mistake.
Yeah, it is a big mistake. And that's the other thing. They don't understand what a pension is. They don't understand that they could get that. They don't understand that what a pension actually is. They don't understand what a mutual fund is. They don't understand compound interest. And there are different words for these things globally as well. So it's not just compound interest. Compound interest here, it's something, they use a different term in the States. If you're behind in your bills, what do? You're panicking. You're living paycheck to paycheck. You've got creditors calling you up. Your landlord's hounding you because you haven't paid anything. So you focus on the four walls.
Is this something you use to help teach people and
yeah.
show
Well,
people
your
what's
four
going on?
walls, like this rug here, your transportation, because you got to get back and forth to work. Your home, because you got to have a place to sleep, and your food, you got to eat something, and you got to keep the bills at bay. So how do you figure out how to do that? Well, your four walls, you get your rent paid up. You make sure you got transportation, your bus pass, or gas in your car. Work on those things. And one thing that I learned a long time ago from my mother was that, if it's $25, if you figured that it's $25 in your budget every 2 weeks, like it's $50 for your insurance every month, let's say, you put 25 off of each paycheck towards that if you can. Either in a separate account or you pay it in your bill list from your bank account. As long as you're paying something, they're not going to cut it off. That's one thing I learned from my mother. My mom and dad are very frugal. They're both seniors, so I've learned from them over the years, as well as other sources. And I could give a call out to a ton of things, actually.
When you mention your mom and dad, it makes me think about like the influence that our parents or those who raise us have on our finances. And so I think that's really important for us to think about that. And
yes.
Maybe like for me personally, I would say that I heard a lot of people talking about, what's the saying, we called it like generational poverty and a mindset that like we're renters. We always be renters. So
there's some benefits to renting, though. There's benefits to renting because you're not tying your money all up in a house that's sucking your money. Even though generationally there's going to be wealth built there, a lot of people can't afford that house. Yeah. They're never going to be able to afford that house. There's ways to go about it. There's cohabitation. There's a way to buy a house with your friends.
Right. The millennials are doing that.
Yeah.
Buying schools and turning them into
these days.
Soft lofts.
Yeah.
Is that part of why you started Prosperous PSWs, the Facebook group? I mean, I've been on the group for some time. I think you invited me some time ago, but I really enjoyed the content. I mean, I don't know what feedback you've received from others, but the content's incredible. I don't know if you've gone on.
I have to check it out.
Like the content is like real good content if you actually take the time to read it and click on the links and
thank
stuff.
you.
No, it really is.
I try to make an effort. I do take suggestions from some of the people in the room.
Okay.
But you had really, we had talked before in regards to your classes that you had, the 4 classes that you had.
That's right.
And Jackie and I were talking about that. The people didn't leave. They didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And they stayed for the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But they didn't ask any questions.
Yeah.
And that's what I get out of it. So I just keep posting. Nobody's leaving. That's the funny thing. Nobody's leaving. And the few that do leave, I had a bit of a glitch. I tried to do the Facebook talk.
Okay.
I think it was. So, and everybody was like, don't add me, delete me. And I'm like, what did I do? They don't want to talk. They want to sit. I think it's fear. I honestly think it's fear with the women.
Yeah.
Because we've never historically been able to do a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like up until about, I think, 70 years ago, we couldn't get a pension at certain companies.
Yeah.
We also couldn't own a house. We couldn't buy a house by ourselves. Our husbands had to give us a credit card in their name. Yeah. So.
And that wasn't too long ago.
Yeah. So how do you expect a woman to, know all this stuff? And of course they're going to sit there. They're going to absorb it. They're going to digest it. Maybe eventually they'll start talking.
Yeah.
And there's women out there that do talk. And there's women that I worked with that have been extremely successful with their finances. Yeah. They've paid their house off. They've actually upgraded. They've flipped houses. But then you get the other ones. They're raising 4 kids and they got nothing to flip with. They're just flipping
week by week, and
they're flipping the flyers, trying to do the price matching there, at the grocery store now. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, we've heard payday loans is a thing, right? Like in terms of some of our members having to access cash advances and those type of things.
Oh yeah. Oh well, let's move into the segment of the emergency fund. Once you get past your 4 walls, you get that all taken care of. You're up to date on your rent, your transportation's not an issue, your utilities are all up to date. Forget about the credit cards. Just make sure that you got the power still on in the house that you're just paid the rent off.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, get a stock of clothing that you need, because if you got a hole in your sock, you got to buy a new pair of socks. Yeah. That's an emergency because you need that to go in your shoe to go to work and be safely on the job. Yeah. Stuff like that. Well, once you get past that, you got to look at getting those bills paid off. That credit card from the payday loan, which you really don't want to do because the interest rate's like astronomical. It's just crazy. Right. Yeah. I've never done it, and the few times I've done it, it was to cash the check, not take an advance from them, basically. Because they were open. The bank was closed. That's the only time I ever did that. Yeah. So having an emergency fund. Usually I say about $1,500. If you have a spouse, do about $3,000, $3,500. And keep on working on that emergency fund. A fully funded emergency fund is about $40,000. So it's about a year's wage for you alone. Yeah. So that would mean if you had a spouse, and you would take their wage as well. So you might have $100,000 in the bank. Let's start with 40, but let's start with the $1,500. Get that $1,500 together so that if your transportation breaks down, you at least have $300 or $400 to put a new tire on. Get the brakes done, get the water pump fixed.
What do you say to those healthcare women out there who maybe you're listening to this and saying, well, Gina, look, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but practically speaking, I just don't have $1,500 to be tucked away or $40,000. What would you say to those women out there who are really struggling to figure out, okay, how do I tuck away $30, $50, or $100 to have this emergency fund in place?
You tuck it away slowly. Do it as slowly as you want. Yeah, it's up to you. This is your finances. It's not mine. I can give you the tools to do it, but it's you have to have something. You have to want it. You have to want to learn it, and this is. A lot of people can't get started because they look at that $25 and they see groceries. Yeah. They look at that $25 and they see the pack of cigarettes that they use to get by in the day. Yeah. But even if $5 is all you can put aside, put that away. Forget about it. Put it in an account that you can't touch. You actually have to physically go to the bank to get it out.
So something's better than
nothing, because that $5 next month's going to be 10, and 2, 3, 4 months down the road it's going to be 20. You're not going to be thinking about the 20 if it's locked up somewhere, and it was $5 each time.
So would you say the creating the habit?
Yes.
Is what really counts? Is that kind of where you're going
habitual.
with?
Habitual.
Yeah, making it habitual. Yeah.
I do feel you on the habits, right?
Yeah.
If we're not in thinking about it or in a mindset that I'm going to change my financial reality, then we're never going to take that first step.
Yeah.
One thing that I think you and I had talked about, was, and it was really profound at the moment. I was like, oh yeah, we should be doing more sort of education on this topic, is the checking your pay stubs.
Yeah.
And how, recently, I think I had posted online too, and I was talking to a few members. One of our units had, they weren't getting, their employer wasn't contributing to their pension plan for the last 2 years. Throughout COVID, for some reason, I don't know if they changed payroll systems or something, half of the workplace weren't getting their pension contributions to their nursing home pension plan. And so one member found out just recently, and then the rep started investigating, and then they found out it was, half of the unit that weren't getting these contributions. And so I wonder if you could just talk about like the importance of members checking their pay stubs when they get them, and like,
what are we looking
such a simple
for?
thing, but it's not a common thing that's going on out there.
We've had grievances in regards to this, because I'm the health and safety. So I still have to talk to the chief union steward at our place of work. There's stuff that comes up that's relevant to what I understand in health and safety with the members that she's filing a grievance for. So they have to talk to me. She doesn't do the health and safety. I do the health and safety. But I've always put that out there that she could talk to me because of the fact that I have done the union steward stuff. That if she needs, because I do understand. My comprehension is just unbelievable in regards to stuff. So she values my opinion, and I value her. She's very good. But yeah, she was instrumental in actually checking her pay stub, and they filed a grievance in regards to this for vacation pay. She was missing her vacation pay. 2% of it was lacking off of her pay stubs for, I think, 8 years, she said.
Wow.
It was something to that degree. I'd have to go back and ask her.
But it was a
substantial amount.
Type,
so she actually got, I believe, an $8,000 payout from our company.
Wow.
Yeah, because she'd grieved it. So then the rep filed another grievance. 30 people went on that grievance, and they tried to seek out the compensation for their vacation pay as well. So yeah, you got to check that.
But how many folks really take the time to check? And it's really, really important.
Yeah, and a lot of them don't understand what they're looking at.
That's right. Yeah,
they don't really understand.
Yeah.
So.
One last question. I don't know, just a question on the union's role. So this has been sort of something that we've contemplated for some time in terms of, what you had said earlier of, the words that are being used and how complex some of these terms could be. And, Jackie, you alluded to the way in which people may comprehend what they're reading and what they're viewing. So I'm wondering if you can offer up, a suggestion or comment on is the union's role to help facilitate some of that education for their members on how to read a pay stub, how to understand financial literacy better, those type of things. Is there a role for union to play?
I think there is. If we want our healthcare system to be better, I think we need to help the women that are there in it. But going forward, we have to get them to the point where they're taking the money that they're making, even if it's
small amounts.
And utilizing that, because otherwise we're not going to have the healthcare system that we expect or that we're accustomed to or used to, and we're going to have a for-profit. And if we're for profit and we're not getting any of those profits, we have to. It's the biggest untapped market is women financially going forward. Like a lot of women, we were talking about that, the 80%. Yeah.
But talk about that, because I think people think it's just me.
Well, okay, so if you like 80% of women are either going to be divorced or widowed. Okay, so there leaves 20% that are either not going to be married or they're going to die before their husband.
But you told me about the 46% of women.
Yeah.
Who what?
Okay, so if you're married, 46% of women involve themselves in the financial part with their husbands. There was 64% that don't do anything. They just leave it up to their husband.
Yeah, that's still a significant amount that don't really get involved.
Historically, because we've never had the opportunity, and that's why you're getting people probably just sitting there and listening.
Yeah.
They don't know how to put the next foot forward.
Yeah.
So you have to teach them how to get to the $1,500 emergency fund. You have to teach them the four walls.
Yeah.
And it's not just the four walls. Like a lot of them have accrued debt. How do you get out of debt?
Yeah.
There's different budgets out there.
Yeah.
Like there's a percentage budget. There is a 50, 20, 30 budget. There's all different kinds of budgets. Some of these budgets don't even include in it the childcare. Okay, childcare up until this year.
That's a big expense.
Yeah, and there's another field that is inadequately. There's problems in it. They were talking about this past week with the childcare for the $10 a day.
$10 a day, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to support it or maintain it. And there's 1,500 people across the country that they need, or 15,000, sorry. And they figure that they're going to be lacking 8,000 to keep this going. Now, Quebec, from what I understand, gave their workers that were working in the the childcare. The childcare. Yeah. They gave them an 18% raise.
Yeah, that's right.
And 12%, I believe, for the owner-operators in order to maintain this.
Wow. I mean, I think we've covered quite a bit today. I think, parts of what we heard from Eugene, and I definitely appreciate you taking the time to come in and share some of your insights and your experience as it relates to finances and women in finances and healthcare women in finances.
Yes.
And some of the things I think we heard, Jackie, and I mean, I'll just speak for myself, but just the need to start the habit. That was what I heard loud and clear. Just the need to start. Whatever starting looks like for you as an individual, just start. $5, $10, $500, start. And then the need to check your pay stubs because you get them every couple weeks and make sure that nothing's missing. Those are the couple things that I'm drawing away at. What are you taking away from today's conversation? For
me, there is a lot, but for me, it's the stats you shared about who's involved and who's not. Because I think a lot of, for me, I feel I'm the only one not doing this. But we're not alone. There's a lot of women who are, it's all going to work out in the end.
Definitely a great conversation, great insights, great recommendations. And, we look forward to seeing you again very soon. And we're just going to end off there. Don't forget to comment in the comments section, like it. Any last words, Jackie, for you?
Thank you, Gina. We're following you on the Prosperous PSW on Facebook, step by step, slow and steady. Thank you for being with us today. Like Tyler said, this is our podcast and we want your help in naming it. So get down in the comments and let us know what you think we should call our podcast, where we're learning and growing together. So subscribe, and we'll see you next time on our podcast.